YouTube, we are officially 2 weeks out. Cat's out of the bag. So we're going again. We've got one more show. So follow along. Chest, back, and cardio today. I'll probably drop a voiceover over the workout. So yeah, let's get it. This guy's just corrected me. I thought we were 2 weeks out. We're 3 weeks out. So yeah, that makes me a little bit more sad. 3 weeks out, eh? 3 weeks out. All I'll say is please make sure to watch till the very end of this video because I'm going to have a little sit down chat with you. I want to talk to you about how I'm feeling mentally at this point in prep at what would be 3 weeks out from the next show. So make sure to stay tuned to the very end of this video to hear what I have to say about that. But in this voiceover, there's a couple things or a few things that I want to touch on. So we're going to get into a bit of training stuff in a couple minutes. But the first thing I want to talk about is actually the difficulties in prep between shows. I'm sure if you've done a prep before and you've done multiple shows in a season, you know what I mean. Like even if your first show and your second show is only a week apart, that week is still quite a hard week, you know. But even, you know, as an example, I've done 5 shows this year. So between my first show and my most recent show, my last show, I think there's like 6 weeks. So having been lean for that long and maintaining that, if not getting even leaner, does provide some difficulties. You know, so one of the first things I think there is when you get a taste for normal life again, like after you've done a show, typically you're going to go and have an off-plan meal, maybe even an off-plan day the next day. As nice as that is, it almost makes prep harder again because you get the taste of a normal life. You get those feelings, you become a bit more relaxed again. You're allowed to kind of eat something if you want to eat something. You know, which is great, and it's awesome to have that balance in prep. But then when you get back to the diet, you know, it just gets those hunger signals firing like never before, which I guess could be a good thing because it will help you to get a little bit leaner again within that next week or two. But you know, it's a mental challenge, and that's where I always say to people, if you've not done a prep before, it might well be one of the hardest things you will ever do. And I know that sounds a bit dramatic, so it depends on your perspective and position in life, but it can be a very difficult thing mentally. Okay, physically it's pretty straightforward, right? You've just got to train, you've just got to eat the right food, you've just got to prep your food and do your cardio. But mentally, deep into prep and when you're pretty damn shredded, that's where it becomes a challenge. You know, so the next thing is from a hormonal perspective, you know. Again, if you're really, really lean and obviously natural, your hormones are going to take a hit. And that's a given. And that's something that I've been experiencing very much so probably the past week, if I'm being honest. And what this means for me and how I identify when my hormones are starting to drop off is firstly, obviously, libido is the main one as a guy. Are you waking up in the morning with that solid plank of wood or are you not? You know, that's the first sign. The next one is obviously that willingness or want to actually have sex, you know. That's another very obvious sign that your hormones are either dropping or increasing or staying the same. Like, is your libido dropping enough to the point where you don't even really think about it? So those are 2 very obvious signs. Then the next signs that I've very much noticed the past week are just my general willingness to want to do things in a day. My willingness to want to train has been pretty close to non-existent. My willingness to want to do cardio, you know, hasn't really been there. And it's even got to the point where my willingness to want to do work has kind of been overridden with this lack of energy and this lack of desire. Do you know what I mean? You know, so your hormones will play a huge role in your success in contest prep. And essentially, if you're able to manage these. Now, bear in mind, I've been dieting for 5 months, and only really the past 2 or 3 weeks of prep, I've, you know, started to feel my hormones drop quite significantly. You know, but that just typically comes from being so lean for so long and still training super hard, still getting leaner. You know, your hormones are obviously going to drop a little bit further, no matter how well you balance your nutrition, your fat intake, you know, even your supplementation. You know, your hormones are going to drop. So this is just something else to consider and think about when it comes to the difficulties you might approach in a contest prep. And then the final thing when it comes to prep difficulties between shows particularly kind of links to what I've said already, but it's just a mindset and a discipline thing. Like, this is where you truly see and realize what you are or what you aren't capable of. Like, do you have what it takes to push through the next 2 weeks? Do you have what it takes to continue training harder and harder, to keep doing the cardio, to keep prepping the meals, to keep eating the same nutrition? Do you have what it takes? Genuine question. Because you might do for the first 10 weeks, but what about the second 10 weeks? What about the final 2 weeks of prep when you're really digging hard? Do you have what it takes? Because if you are unsure, this is where you'll find out, and this is where you will really start to realize how strong you are mentally. Because when you have something as important as getting on a flipping stage, tanned up in your flipping board shorts for people to judge you, that will push you to achieve things that you probably haven't ever achieved before. So prep is a great thing. It's great for delayed gratification. It's great for your mindset. It's great for learning more about yourself. It's great to learn more about nutrition, training, mentality, mindset, and really getting that dog out in you. Okay, now let's move on to training quickly before we end this voiceover. So firstly, I have a free 8-week build program in the first link in the description. Go check it out, go download it. It is completely free. Within that free build program, I've also embedded 8 coaching videos into the program, so you have one to watch at the start of each week and implement that week. So if you want to download a world-class free training program with 8 world-class coaching videos in it, feel free to go to my description and download that. Now, when we're training in prep, we have to be very mindful of a few things and very intentional with our actions as well. So we have to be mindful of injury, overtraining, your recovery capabilities, your volume, your frequency. There's so many things that we have to think about and be mindful of in a prep to make sure that we can bring our best look. Because the worst thing that we can do is bring a really fatigued physique to stage, because it's just not going to look how you want it to look. You know, so this is the same as well with cardio and steps and other output that you're putting your body under and other stresses that you're putting your body under. We obviously have to train hard and we have to push our body to the extreme to get the level of condition we desire and also retain the muscle that we need. But you also have to be very mindful of how you're balancing all of these things with your recovery as well. Okay, so that's just something to think about. And then also with being intentional with your training, you just have to be intentional with things like your mind to muscle connection, your tempo, the control of the weights, and of course the intensity that you're actually bringing to the table, the intensity that you're bringing to the gym. Because at the end of the day, you're not bulking anymore, and you don't have enough energy to train as if you are bulking, and obviously your recovery is not going to quite be the same either. So you have to be mindful of that, but you still need to force that muscle to stay on your frame. Okay, just because you're in a contest prep or you're in a diet and a calorie deficit, you cannot give yourself a free pass to just quit on a set. You cannot give yourself a free pass to give up. In not one of my training videos that you've watched, this might be your first one, so go and watch other ones, but you won't ever see me just give up. You'll see me hit failure, but that intensity has to stay. But I'm also at the same time being mindful of my recovery, etc. You know, and obviously not injuring myself and so on. So, just a few things for you to think about in your training if you're in a prep or deep into a diet phase. Be mindful of injuries and overtraining and your recovery, but also be intentional with how you're acting. Because at the end of the day, hard training will help you to dig out that hardness, that fullness, that density, those striations and the deep cuts in your physique, which of course is a look we want when we're competing in bodybuilding or men's physique. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all for this voiceover. Make sure to stay tuned for the clip coming at the very end and drop in the comments below your thoughts on the free 8-week build program and how you think my physique's looking at this point. Yo guys, hope you're enjoying this video so far. If so, please drop a like, please subscribe, and drop a comment. Let me know your favourite exercise for chest or back. Now, I need to be real with you for a minute, because if I'm being completely honest, I don't feel like I've got much left in the tank for this prep. I've been dieting now for something like 22 weeks. So over 5 months I've been dieting for. I've lost like 17 kilos, I think. And yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm running out of juice a little bit. So I'm very, very, very highly debating knocking prep on the head. Now, just upon reflection, this prep has been the most successful prep I've ever done, and I've achieved way more than I probably ever thought I could have in the bodybuilding scene, the natural bodybuilding scene. Obviously won my pro card a couple of weeks ago, which was a massive goal for me, and then I've just carried on. You know, I won the pro card, I did one pro show, I've done a second pro show, and now obviously I've got another pro show that I've already signed up for in 3 weeks' time. So it's been a pretty hefty season. I've done 5 shows already, with obviously another one potentially on the horizon, but 2 of those 5 shows have been pro shows, and then, you know, to make a third one of that. As fun and as exciting as it is, I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's just hard, man. Like, I'm feeling like I feel okay in myself, but just day to day my energy's not there. My hormones just feel non-existent at the minute, and that obviously affects my energy, that affects my willingness to want to train, it affects my willingness to, you know, even with work and things like that, like it's really starting to take away from not just work and training, but relationships and stuff as well. And I'm just thinking, is it wiser to pull the plug on this prep, take a bit of time out, grow some more size, which I'm inevitably going to need to be more competitive anyway in the pro lineups, and then come back next year or the following year with, you know, an even better physique where I can be more competitive. So yeah, just a few things going through my mind. Supposed to be doing cardio in a minute. I'm supposed to be checking in a couple of days' time and probably getting my calories reduced. And like I said, I just don't feel like I'm able to keep fucking pushing, man. On another note, I'm looking pretty gnarly, to be fair. I'm looking pretty fucking shreds. So I'm really happy with how I'm looking right now, but yeah, I'm just mentally and physically and hormonally, I just feel like I don't have what it takes to keep pushing this season. So yeah, we'll see.